My name is Ashley, and today I wanted to go over how I career changed from teaching into tech, specifically software engineering, in less than a year. So my story is, and my advice is not professional, it's just based off my experience, and my hope is someone out there will be able to benefit from the experience I had, and will be able to just have some tips and tricks that I did to be able to be successful in career changing. Before we go into the tips, I just wanted to first start off by giving a little backstory. So I was working as a full-time kindergarten teacher for a whole school year before I decided to switch my career, or during that school year, I decided to career switch. And so the school year starts in about August, and by October, I was pretty much ready to go move in the next phase of my career. And so a lot of stuff happened, and it was just a lot of feeling, a lot of emotions, and just feeling really unsure and uncertain if this is like how I pictured my life to be and the career that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so it was a lot of just like really going back and forth. But what ended up helping me personally decide that, oh, I really want to switch careers was the realization that I really wanted to do something that has better work-life balance and is able to be more so work that I can just really be able to be flexible in as well. So I started my career change in October, and I was able to get my first job offer by July, the end of July actually. This is pretty non-traditional because going from a teaching degree all the way to going into a software engineering background is pretty non-traditional, so I did feel very inadequate almost every day. I felt like I was not going to be able to succeed, and just overall had a lot of low self-esteem about it. But in my heart, I knew I really wanted to do this career switch, and that I was capable. I wanted to believe that I was capable of doing it, and that's like what ultimately got me to start. So the first thing I did in career switching is I tried to figure out if I even enjoyed programming. So, and I started off by doing basic Code Academy, and it's like this, just this really nice user-friendly way of learning, like very simple programming and just like for loops, variables, like things like that. Very basic programming, no data structures or algorithms unless you choose to do so. And so I just did that for like a month, and I just wanted to see if I even enjoyed it. So I found out that I really enjoyed it, and the nice thing about Code Academy is that it is very, like, you can progress on it pretty smoothly, and so and at the end of it you do get a certificate, and so it does reward you with a certificate that you can put in your LinkedIn. And so I did finish one of those, and I ended up really enjoying it. I know a lot of people would just say go straight into studying, and software engineering is this great career, but at the same time, if you can't even do it for 30 days straight, then how are you supposed to do it for like your career, your full-time job? And so starting off with just seeing if you enjoy programming is a great way to see if you want to even career switch into this specific career, because there are tons of other careers you can definitely go into in tech as well. So next, too, I did do a boot camp, and I know a lot of people can study on their own and be successful through that, but for me personally, I think it's part of being a teacher. I did like really need structured learning, and I really needed that like assignments and like due dates and projects to keep me accountable for my learning. And so I did enroll in a 6-month boot camp part-time. And that definitely taught me a lot of what I wanted to learn. But honestly, I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but a boot camp can only do so much for your career, because a lot of people that was in the same boot camp as I was ended up not getting a job right out of boot camp. And people don't talk about that because it's like they want to put out there that, you know, you can get a job right at guaranteed, and if you don't, like, money back, whatnot. But at the end of the day, there are people that don't get jobs, and that's because I'm not exactly sure why they don't get jobs, but for me personally, that was a fear I had. And so on top of my boot camp, which was 15 hours a week, I made an absolute effort to study 25 hours a week so that I would be basically working full-time as a teacher for 40 hours, and I was studying for 40 hours a week in my boot camp and self-study. And if you look at the statistics, I only did boot camp classes for 15 hours a week and self-study for 25. So in the end, self-studying was more effective than the boot camp in my perspective. So if you don't have the money to go into a boot camp, then fear not, because you can still definitely do it on with your self-study as well. And I'll go into like how I self-studied and whatnot. But I did enroll in a boot camp as well. So third on what I did was I studied the heck out of data structures and algorithms through LeetCode and also books. So these are a couple of the books that I used, and they were very helpful because I am personally a visual learner, and I do like to see things and read about them in order to really process the information. And so I did do a lot of studying on data structures and algorithms, and at first it may seem like so daunting and so confusing. So I made an effort to first just draw it out and really understand what I'm trying to accomplish when I was sorting and doing linked lists and things like that. And being able to do it with my fingers by moving, or doing it by drawing a picture, helped me understand like what I was trying to accomplish through code. So I highly recommend being able to understand the data structures and algorithms fundamentally by being able to draw them and visually guiding yourself with them. And that will really help you be able to just really transfer that knowledge into code, because if you don't understand how to do it through a visual aid, it's really hard to transfer the knowledge into a programming language. So I definitely really recommend learning data structures and algorithms fundamentally. And Code Academy has a great starter data structures and algorithms course that you can also take. This is not sponsored by Code Academy whatsoever, but I did find that that was what was helpful for me. I highly do not recommend going straight into leak coding, because you can be very discouraged right off the bat if you go straight into leak coding and realize that you can't answer any of the problems. And I know there's people that do like 300 or 400 before they apply, but that was not what was helpful for me. In fact, it was discouraging, if anything, as to why I didn't know these things. And so I do recommend learning data structures and algorithms, because your programming interview questions will be a lot of times those things. And so you do have to understand like an array and how to sort it and just linked list and things like that. And so start from the beginning of learning data structures and algorithms. In fact, after you realize that you like truly enjoy learning programming, I recommend going straight into learning data structures and algorithms, because that will help you fundamentally as a software engineer when you get your job as well. I made it an effort to code every single day. Even if it was only a line of code, I still made an effort to do a little bit every day, so it was in my habit and I wasn't losing the information that I was gaining. And so every single day I would try to do very little, even if it was just like a code along, or just being able to do something, learn something about programming, read a page of a book because when you like make it a habit to constantly code, then you will naturally gravitate towards it. And so I know a lot of times like I would just try to see what I did yesterday and active recall and try to see if I remember what I did yesterday, and that's a great way to make sure you fundamentally have memorized and also learn what you're doing. And also another thing that I did was as I was coding, I talked out loud. I was talking out loud what I was doing. So in my head, I was hearing that I was understanding what I was doing. Otherwise, like you are just writing all this code, and later on in your interviews, you're going to have to be able to explain them. And so being able to get in the habit of explaining what you're doing as you're doing it is a great way to prepare for your interviews as well. Finally, what really helped me finally be able to switch my career to software engineering is I did just interview pretty early. I finished my boot camp in June, and at that point I was already applying to jobs and already getting interviews, and I was reaching out to recruiters, and I was getting all these technical challenges, and just being able to get my foot out the door. I was able to have a lot of practice interviews, and by the end of my career search, I was able to be a much more confident programmer. And this helps you overall because a lot of times you'll never be ready enough, and the best way to get ready is to just try it. And so I did just start applying and reaching out to recruiters, and I can make a separate video of how I was able to get the interviews that I did. But overall, I did make an effort to start applying early and just get my foot out the door and do these technical challenges. And I failed so many of them, and it was so discouraging. But at the same time, I kept my head up. And after I would do an interview or a technical challenge, I would make sure that I try to reflect on that interview question and try to do it again. So all in all, just being able to constantly push your head and push yourself to just take that leap of faith is what helped me be able to just get these interviews and whatnot. Career changing is not easy. I don't know how people just talk about it as if it's just like the easiest thing ever. It takes a lot of work, and I dedicated a lot of time to being able to do this. And I do recommend that you making these things a habit so that in your body you recognize that you need to do this like programming question before you go to bed or whatnot. That's what helped me. But all in all, you do need to believe in yourself, and programming is really important and part of getting the job, but also behavioral is also just as important. Like if you can't talk about yourself highly, if you can't talk about your skill sets in a positive way, then you can't get a job, because you're going to more than likely work with a team, and you have to be like a kind person, a good person that the team would want. And so even though it is important to technically have all those skills, you do also need to have the good behavior and just like be able to answer the questions on like how you work on a team and about yourself, and talk about yourself very highly. And so overall, through this whole process, make sure you believe in yourself, and you're making sure that you check in with yourself and have goals of what you want to accomplish. Like, do I want to learn like data structures, like a linked list on Monday, and by the end of the week I should be able to reverse the linked list, things like that. Just have goals, and just take it slowly day by day, and in no time you'll definitely be able to get a software engineering job. If I can do it, you can do it as well. And I hope this video, if is able to be helpful to someone out there who is on the same boat as I am. If you're discouraged, like, don't be discouraged, because you have to believe in yourself through this process to be able to get the results you want. Because if you don't even believe in yourself, like, who will? And a lot of it is within yourself and you manifesting your dreams and goals and of your career change. So good luck, and comment down if you have any questions or if you need any advice as well. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.